So
Oh, fuck me up with that
We
fan.
need to remember about this fan in the future. We need to remember it.
Yeah, we gotta remember. We
What,
don't
is
often
it?
get hot in here, though.
well, I do over here.
Let's not start it until we
Yeah, we gotta.
announce the movie.
Yeah, we
if
got
that's
it.
cool.
Okay.
That was the only thing that I would consider last one because we
Oh
started
yeah,
as
we
the intro.
we want to
started.
get into it. All right, can we sync up on this one? Welcome.
Harmonize with me.
To the Effing Movie Podcast.
Not about my tempo.
That was not quite my tempo though. Price was not my tempo. I'm your host. So is these guys. You know us. You love us. That's Nathan. That's Mason. This is Dylan. That's Bryce. He's on his phone. He's diddling his phone.
Diddling.
Phone diddling.
Sorry, I didn't do trivia for. I did trivia for Raging Bull, but
Oh my god, this man can't even
It's
do
not gonna
his
be as
job.
organic.
He criticizes me for doing my job all the time,
I
and he
didn't
doesn't
get
even
on
do his job. Anyway, we're the Effing Podcast. We review movies. Sometimes we talk about games. Sometimes I actually might do something else too. Stay tuned.
Jesus.
Mason. Price. What movie did we spin
Oh,
last
thank
week?
goodness we're getting a palate cleanser from last week. And we are talking about Kingsman, The Secret Service, the first of 3 movies about the Kingsman universe.
Mm-hmm.
And and the reason I picked this movie is because I really like it. I've seen this movie before, really enjoy it, so I am glad that I'm not doing a blind pick this time and picking something I actually stand behind. And if I get ripped apart, I'll at least be like, that's not cool.
We're still hot after Raging Bull. If you just watch Raging
Oh
Bull,
man,
for
they
some-
are raging.
Yeah.
That was some of the lowest reviews we've gotten across the board.
That
Even
was-
I picked it, and I gave it like a 2.5.
It has to be our lowest review.
Well,
maybe besides Birdemic.
The funny thing
Birdemic.
too is like
Yeah.
I was probably starting at a 3, but as I was explaining my problems,
Oh God.
and you kept
Going
being
down
like,
the
"Get the
ladder."
score. What's your score though?" I was like, "No, I'm not done yet. I'm
Yeah.
still going
I'm
down."
processing. No. I'm mad enough to still push it past 2, but yeah. So we're talking about Kingsman. What the fuck is Kingsman?
Go, Bryce.
The Secret
Oh.
Service.
All right, so the Kingsman starts with this big epic action scene where basically these group of spies are torturing this one guy. He's about to commit suicide. One of the guys jumps on top of him, takes a grenade for everybody. Then we get to the actual plot where you find out that group of people torturing that guy is called the Kingsmen. It's a secret spy group in Britain.
Yeah,
I believe it's
UK somewhere.
UK, something like that. They have funny accents and teeth. The main character's
Sorry,
name is
Britain fans.
Eggsy, and his dad was the one who jumped on that grenade and was a former Kingsman.
Lancelot.
Galahad
Sick
is
names, though.
Galahad is the guy who finds Eggsy and is like, "Hey, I messed up. I'd like to make it up to your dad. How about you try out for the Kingsman? That'd be pretty cool." They try out. A bunch of other people try out. He doesn't make the group. But somebody else does, which is a neat turn, but we'll get into that later. You find out that Samuel Jackson is the bad guy. He wants to kill everybody in the world. he wants to kill everybody in the world. Even some people in the Kingsmen are in on it, and Eggsy has to go back and help the Kingsmen save the world and therefore become part of the Kingsmen. Yeah, that was a good synopsis.
It was
Yeah,
good. That was nice.
That was
Yeah,
bad. That was
Covered
bad.
it pretty well.
Although I will say you never once referenced that this feels like campy comic booky James Bond.
Well,
That's the point
The
of this
only
movie.
reason
I know,
why
yeah,
this
that's
movie
what-
feels so campy, though, is because we just watched Samuel L. Jackson be super extra campy in Glass.
Yeah. So
I couldn't get that out of my head.
I will say it feels
Yeah.
like he dialed him down from.
Oh yeah,
from
he's
Glass.
way less.
He's somewhere between Glass and Snakes on a Plane in his
Yeah.
campiness level.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah. And what's weird is he leans more towards Snakes on a Plane.
I know,
too.
more
Like,
on
it's
Snakes on a
not-
Plane. Like this isn't a bad role for him.
That's good.
Overall, this I'll say this without saying good, bad, or anything like that. I think this is a movie that stays fairly fun for most of it. I think it does a really good job on pacing on the action in between, like the little like espionage-y stuff. It being kind of like such an homage to the James Bond franchise and like spy thrillers in general, spy action thrillers. But obviously, because it's British, it's gonna be James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a fun little nod to it and kind of doing its own little spin on things. Now we're just doing, instead of MI6, now it's just like, the Kingsman, and it has this royalty stuff, and it has all these like classic titles like Excalibur and stuff like that. I like the lore. I like the names on it. This is probably the second best movie to use those names, first being Excalibur. And this is probably my second liked movie where they try to kill a puppy, which again feels like we keep watching really distinct movies about this stuff. Thinking about it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, John Wick we watched cumulatively, but
Yeah, we have. We watched
Two. Yeah, but not one.
Not one.
They didn't
We
try to kill
also
any dogs
watched
in 2.
I Am Legend.
Oh shit. Okay, that's right. We are.
Boom.
And
Number
we-
one.
Alright.
I want to follow up on a point Dylan made too about the pacing, which I think is one of the things this movie does best. Is because the whole first half of the movie, it's introducing this big world and introducing all these large characters. So it's doing a lot of exposition at the beginning of the movie, that first half.
With cool tech.
Yeah.
But it's also got a lot of good action scenes in that to kind of like
Juxtaposition.
all right, we know that we're gonna like have to do some exposition dump on you, but we're gonna reward you with a cool action scene, like in the bar. We're gonna give you one of those, or we're gonna give you some like cool thing that they're doing in training, or some cool action scene in the Alps. Like it does a good job of like sparsing that out, which I really liked and appreciated, especially on this rewatch because I didn't know if has anybody Nathan, have you not seen this?
No.
You
I've
two
never
have,
seen it
right?
before.
I've seen it before.
Okay, so I just thought like I guess for Nathan, like I like that they like could keep your attention a little bit better that way.
Yeah. I think on the flip side of that though, this movie is fun, but it also borders too much into campiness at times.
Oh, it's super campy.
Right,
It's
like
not in a
not
in a
like
hard way.
right?
It's just like
not classic
man.
'90s campy, not like Batman and Robin campy, but
Yeah.
it's like sometimes it's a little too tongue in cheek and it's a little too much like
I
smelling
don't
its own
think it
fart.
means to be. Like,
Yeah.
it wants.
It
to
does.
be.
It wants to be. It absolutely does. Like this is a movie that is not trying to take itself too seriously, just enough to sit there and have a like solid plot line to juxtapose the ridiculously of it, right? Because if you look at like Eggsy and Galahad when compared to Samuel Jackson in this film, then it's just like how are these guys in the same movie? Like their characters feel so wildly comic versus wildly very serious.
Yeah.
And at times that does do a little to put me out of like being in the rhythm of it because there's just
Just
sometimes
because of Samuel Jackson?
not even just Samuel Jackson, just sometimes they touch the camp line a little too heavy. And it's never for long, credit due, it never sits in it, and never like over the top bothers me, but there are times where I'm like, man, I kind of wish it just curved a little bit heavier into taking itself a smidge more seriously.
I don't know. I kind of like the lightheartedness of it because it feels modern. Like it feels like what a modern world could look like in that, where like because like meme culture and all that kind of stuff is so permutated across all people now that Elon Musk is an example of a rich billionaire that thinks it's funny to post memes all the time. Like that's what Samuel L. Jackson's character, I feel like, is very much playing off of, is the idea of one of these type of people.
Tech billionaires.
He's believable. I'll give him that. Like, in the world we live in, I see this plot being happening. That happens.
And he had a pretty normal, like
reason.
villainous reason. Like, this world is overpopulated. This planet is suffering. Like, we just need to...
Mankind is the virus.
Yeah, like it was a very
like
simple thing. He didn't have to
such
say
a singular line of reasoning.
He didn't have to say, "Oh, my mother died from this because of this and this and this, and this is why I'm
They're not
attacking
trying
a
to
certain
give you
kind of
empathy
people."
for him.
Literally anyone, anyone that I choose.
I just realized I had the resources to kill the planet, and I said, "Well, why wouldn't I?"
Yeah. Kind of like
Don't
Captain
want-
Planet, the lady with the
Yeah.
the blonde streak in her hair or whatever. I don't know what her name is, but he's basically her.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Jeffrey Bezos, don't watch this. Don't watch this review or this movie.
Don't get any.
Don't get any ideas. Musk, you're already planning this. I already know you are. You sick bastard.
We already know better now.
We
that
already
took your free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they took the Wi-Fi and the Twitter. We keep up with you because we have to. Anyway, yeah, I think so. I do want to talk about the. I think we have to talk about probably one of the bigger action scenes in it, and we got to talk about the church scene.
Ooh,
I thought they were the
baby.
same one.
Feels like it at times. No, the church scene is fun. It's really fun
Why did they pick Kentucky?
because
Because
we
it makes
fucking deserve
sense.
it.
I didn't know if I missed something.
Yeah,
where,
just
like,
because we live in Kentucky, we're like, why would they pick us? But like, Kelly's from Colorado. She's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Makes total sense.
She's in the U.S. and it makes
Mississippi,
sense.
Alabama, like there wasn't
Kentucky
a little
makes
lower
sense.
bar to
Kentucky Snake Church, believable.
Oh, totally believable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pentecostal.
I could find you a
Yeah,
fucking
like-
Kentucky Snake Church.
Oh yeah.
Same.
Within 2 hours of where we are right now.
Oh,
I
40
wouldn't
minutes.
say
That's
it's
why we
anything
can
to like
celebrate.
take personally at all because
No.
you're right. You're saying Mississippi, Alabama, like these places would also
They're
be just
Bible
as
Belt.
likely
Oh, right.
candidates.
Yeah.
Right. They're all interchangeable to the
Yeah,
Canadian
like, it's-
person probably making this
Yeah,
film.
that's true.
Right. Or British person. I don't know what they are.
Did we like the scenes? Did we like the choreography of the fight scenes? Can I go first?
Sure.
I did. I think that these are... yes. The answer. Quite yes. No, I think that the choreography in this movie is what makes it stand out pretty well.
Yeah.
You like John Wick for its like kooky, like crazy, flipping off of walls, like gunfire.
The gun fu.
Yeah, the gun
Right,
fu.
Yeah.
This movie does a lot more than just gun fu. This is a lot of like the camera angles, the flipping, the sequences, and a lot of obviously just like the dancing around basically.
Yeah.
And I made sure to watch it very closely this time too. They're single takes too.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like when he's in there like killing everybody and everything, it's a single take. But then like the music kind of like slows down a little bit and it cuts away to like Samuel Jackson, like, hey, you need to watch what's going on. But then it goes back to that. It does 3 different cuts back to that. So there are 3 different like scenes, if you will, of the church, of the single takes going on the whole time.
I have a love-hate relationship with the cinematography during the action, though. I like the action. I like the
Too
backdrop
much?
of music. Yeah, it is a little too much, right? It's like overstimulating. The cuts
To
and
me,
stuff
it
like
wasn't too much.
I-
Like, that was the
You
thing
wanted
that
more
had me
Mad
the
Max.
most engaged
Right.
in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, rather, let me word it like this, right? It bothers me because I think at times it's almost detracting from it because of how much it's, you know, like it's very action camera. And I'm not trying to win you over on it. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean when I'm saying action camera.
Yeah,
right?
but
Like,
I saw it as really smooth. When I think of like action camera, I think Transformers.
Sure,
That's the
okay,
kind of thing
you're
I
right.
think
Yeah,
about.
so there's bad action camera. This is good action camera in that it held the shot and it didn't blur, it didn't give it like a lot of the action smooth. Like clearly, this is where the doubles come in and do bad like action or something.
I would think of Transporter and like Crank.
Yes.
And some of those movies too.
Crank is exactly where it felt right. That's kind of where my problem is because I'm somebody who gets motion sick really easy, and like I didn't get motion sick on this time, but I remember the first time I watched this, those scenes did start to bother me a little bit. As much as I enjoyed it, I was just like, oh, this is.
Have you ever seen some of the later Resident Evil movies?
Yes.
So, talking about a film whose like cinematography gave me a headache. I remember very clearly, like the 3rd or 4th Resident Evil movie.
Yeah.
I stopped watching it because it so quickly into the start of that movie gave me a headache just from the way the camera was moving.
What about Promare?
My eyes were bleeding. My head stopped working. I think a lot of it's a smell.
For your eyes
got
to even
COVID before
understand
COVID
what's
was
happening.
Anyway, back to Mason's question. This is my favorite action scene of all time. I've never seen one that I've enjoyed so much. I love the lead into it, also with like that hate speech or whatever, and he's just kind of sitting in the crowd, and he's just like, this is pretty messed up. I'm going to go. I don't see anything happening here. Then the girl stops him, and he's like, I'm going to go make love to my homosexual companion. I love everything. Hail Satan, and have a good day.
Yeah.
And then as he's leaving, like, and as that scene, that's going on, like, you hear Freebird kind of start very slowly in the background.
Yeah.
You're like, what is this? The organ makes sense, but, like, don't know why it's doing it. And then they flip the switch and turn it on, and that's when the guitar solo starts to start. And then when he shoots that first person in the head, and it just immediately goes into the solo, and they're like,
Cascades,
oh, this is awesome. And then it just starts, like, going crazy with him killing everybody. And you're like, well, this makes sense because, like, he is this super, super trained MI6 agent or whatever and can kill anybody. And these are just untrained hicks who just may have weapons on
Who
them.
probably have a few guns in their vicinity.
Like, I cannot say how much I
Kentucky.
love. Like,
So there's guns in that.
I showed Kelly this scene like a year ago because I was like, if you haven't seen this movie, like this action scene is
This
my
is the
favorite.
movie right here, right? In a lot of ways, this is incredibly symbolic of like what you're getting out of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
about delivering you these scenes.
Yeah, 100%.
Which you said you watched the prequel one, right? The Kingsman.
I watched the
Kingsman.
third one.
Was it?
That's the third
Okay,
one,
so it
which
was
is the
you.
prequel.
Is the scene at the end almost as good as this one? Because I've
I
heard
like the end
I've
scene
heard that it's
a
really
lot.
good. I haven't seen it.
Haven't seen.
It's so. This movie is kind of like the Fast and Furious franchise, where like at the beginning it was like, really nice flashy cars, a pretty good scene,
It had a
pretty
direction.
realistic, I guess, for the most part, and then it just gets crazier and crazier. That's what this series has to it. It's like the
The
first
second
one is
one's
like,
crazy.
yes, and then the third one is even crazier.
Wow.
So like, it's not a bad thing. You just kind of know what you're getting into. Like, if you already like the content, it's just going to get a little bit more wild. So you're probably into it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so going back to the movie as a whole, I mean, what did you all feel like the runtime? Because it was like an hour, or not an hour, 2 hours.
I was going to say, if it was an hour, I'd
It
be like,
was about 2 hours.
It didn't feel it.
You didn't feel it?
It definitely was not like Raging Bull.
Let's
Yeah.
forget about that one.
Yeah,
Let's keep that
I can't
one.
forget. I can't. Now I have a bar.
Like,
for
when you're talking about a
2
2-hour
movie.
length, we just like
just talked about
watched
2 hour
both of
movie.
these back to back, and it's just like,
Yeah.
well, this one felt every bit of 2 hours. This one
Didn't
flew
even
right
feel
past.
the hour
Right.
40 or whatever.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so spoilers. Fit.
Yeah,
fit.
fit.
Yeah, okay, so that's a shame.
But I will say it is slightly fat, and there's one scene I could take out as in its entirety.
Does it have anal in it?
No.
Oh, me too. Yes, I hated that
Yeah, I
part.
hate that.
Wait, no, mine is the training sequence where they did the skydiving bit.
Yeah.
That was not necessary.
Whenever she was freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing necessary.
that was
like,
to give you some like connection at the end. Whenever she had to go
Yeah.
up in the stupid like
Those
medieval
scrotum-looking-
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I said. I said it
balloons.
looked like a scrotum.
Scrotum. I know.
Yeah, but so like that just wasn't necessary.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seemed kind of poor on their
Poor.
part to pick a double balloon lift.
Right.
It's
In
like, do
2014 with
14.
all these technical gadgets.
Right.
And she was in like a Zeppelin.
But they
basically.
said like that was from a.
That's a
It
homage.
was from
Oh
a
my God,
Star
era.
Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the movie, but
Yeah.
the Star Wars program
Right.
that was supposed to stop intercontinental ballistic missiles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I
So fit is the most part.
yeah, I think overall fit. There's like it comes down to like a small scene or two overall. I think me and Mason. I'm glad you landed on that one. The anal scene at the
The
end.
princess
It's not
that
really
gets captured.
Where
It's
where
not
she's like, if you
needed,
save
I
the
guess,
world,
but
you can do it in the asshole. Huh?
Yeah.
Well,
that
which was like a weird line, but you were like, okay, like
I
fine,
get
let him get a little bit funny,
Yeah,
and then like he went back, and then like
and then it's just
there
the-
was
It
like
showed
a,
her full ass.
Yeah.
Well, and then there was
Wow.
like a 3-minute like dialogue between the two of them. It felt like 3 minutes.
It was
Right.
not that
No,
long.
But it felt like it.
It was
Barely.
not.
I know it's very
at all.
quick, but it feels in the pacing of this movie. This is the one thing where I'm like, if I'm like walking and I'm like totally fine, I'm like, ow.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just enough to be like, I reckon I tripped.
But it is cool how it just ends right after that, though.
It
Like,
could have
there's nothing-
ended.
It could have
right
ended
before it.
right before it, and it would have been.
It could have, but it was like a little joke there at the
True.
end.
It is,
But it's
it
nice
is,
that
but-
I like that it just ended.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't the epilogue where they have like Galahad's
Well,
funeral or
my
something.
my thing about that scene being in there, I think that was just like another tip to like James Bond movies.
Oh, true.
True.
Yeah.
He always gets the girl at the
He
end.
always gets the girl.
That's true.
Like that's what I thought that was for.
And I'm sure it is. I mean, they are
It
very,
is.
very not even tongue in cheek, like tongue hanging out of their mouth. The
Right.
Movie. Like Samuel Jackson and Galahad eating McDonald's, where they talk about like I used to like those old spy movies where the bad guy said his plan and the good
Yeah.
guy whatever. So
Right.
like they very much were like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's my point, right? Like it's tiny little moments like that like I'm just like, oh, this is a little extra. Like that's kind of how I felt like with the anal scene being in. Even if I like the reasons why, like I'm fine with it, like a nice homage to like more Bond, nods to its source material. I think at times it's almost just it's just a little too much for me. Like I'm just like it just isn't landing. I'm like, I get it, but just I don't know. And he doesn't hang dong, so that influences my.
Did you
score.
guys like Samuel L. Jackson as the villain overall?
Yes, I really liked him.
I had fun with Samuel Jackson.
I think he was a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was good.
This wouldn't rate in like my top 100 villains probably, but
No.
like
No.
he's just dumb fun.
No, it was a very one-dimensional villain.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't
Oh
long.
shit!
That
That
was
was
funny. He
yeah.
was so queasy about
Yeah.
everything.
Oh,
like, that was such a
God!
weird little like
Mhm.
thing that they implemented.
Like
Yeah.
when he shot Galahad, he
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
like turned away.
Is he dead?
Is he dead?
Is he dead?
And that happens when you shoot somebody in the head.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
He's not dead.
And then he got like speared at the end, and then
Yeah.
he looked at it, and then he vomited. I was like, okay, I see the joke continuing. I
Right
get
there it
it
is. Yeah. We already did shape, so
You want to do a question then?
question. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So we already kind of talked about a second ago. I already shot my load, I guess. So my question is,
Yikes.
what's your favorite action scene? And just favorite action scene. I already said that mine is the scene from this movie. This is the reason I picked this movie, and one of the reasons I love it so much. So anybody can go first.
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
I think the only one that really comes to mind is in Shooter, which you've seen it.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg?
Mark
Yeah,
Wahlberg.
but
Michael
there's-
Pena too.
Marky Mark.
There's a few of them, but the one that really comes to mind is like whenever he just gets Michael Peña as an assistant, and they make all those pipe bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, they're trying to infiltrate this estate where this guy lives, and he knows that there's security guards everywhere with guns. Like, he counts 5 or 6 of them, and he just slowly takes one of them out at a time. It's like Splinter Cell, where you have to be quiet, or else you'll cause a ruckus. And the way that he goes about it, he's so smart about it. It's a long sequence though. Mm-hmm. I guess I'll go with that one. I feel like that's kind of a mail-in answer.
That's fine.
But
I think I have so many that come to mind. I'm just gonna go through honorable mentions and then pick one that nobody's watched.
Just pick one.
No, you gotta mention the sweet Infinity War Endgame stuff. You gotta mention the John
the Thanos
Wicks.
fight.
Yeah, the Thanos fights. The
throws
Endgame
a
fights.
moon at somebody.
Throws a moon at somebody. You gotta mention fucking what's his face leaping into a dragon's mouth. Fight. There's a lot of good stuff.
That's not even a good action.
Yeah.
No, it really isn't. It's
That's
just
a
him
good
leaping
action
it.
shot.
It's a good action
that's
shot.
Like
that's
good,
a poster.
That's
That's
a good moment.
Can we get that tattooed onto you, Nathan? Just that moment? Because that's such
That
a
is
good-
Nathan.
Yeah, I've never had a tattoo of that one.
that could be your first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But the one that I'm just gonna pick for seemingly no good reason, because I just remembered it and I remember thinking I really liked it, and it's probably aged poorly since, is in the movie 3,000 Miles to Graceland. There's a part where.
Man, talk about a movie I've not thought about in forever.
See, that was the time where you were probably watching movies, so if anybody's watched it, you've watched it.
Yeah, I've watched
Yes.
it.
Never heard of it.
I'm gonna put that on the list here soon. So
I'd be down to see
there's
it.
a scene at the end where for lack of better words, the main villain is fighting off against a bunch of SWAT people and teams like that, and it's just sweet huge battle in this warehouse, and it's just fucking gnarly. It's one of those ones where it's just oh fuck, he's gonna die doing this, but it's gonna be one of those I ain't going down without a fight moments, and it's just satisfying. It's male testosterone,
It's like a Rambo.
It is. It hits a little primal button in my head where I'm in hindsight, and if I watch it now, I'd be it's really not that good. But I'm but the feeling, you just sometimes you just want to mow your enemies down.
I'm surprised you picked something from Warrior.
Fuck all of Warrior, all of it. Just it's a buffet. There's too much good for me.
Warrior's good, but they're a lot smaller segments.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of a fight for a few minutes, but then it's back to
The fights
drama.
still have the most heart out of anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The heart is what's there. I'm every time I watch those, I'm fucking dude, where are you going home to if you lose this, man? What are you doing?
You leave this fight, you don't have a home. I'm gonna say Nathan's is Predator.
I'm
Something
going Mad
from
Max.
Predator.
I did think about Predator.
Yeah.
It's not an action sequence, but
Yeah.
in Alien vs. Predator, I do think there's a funny scene where the your typical horror movie survivor of the guy and the girl make it out. It almost happens in that film, but then out of nowhere, Predator throws this spinning disc thing and cuts the girl in half. It's fucking hilarious. But my choice is for sure the lobby scene from the first Matrix.
Oh, dang it.
How
How did none of us
You
get
mean the
that
metal
one?
detector?
Yeah.
Okay, that one is awesome.
That one's
That's
cool.
that's one of the most badass scenes
That scene
in
is
cinema.
It is.
It is sick as
It
fuck.
brought trench coats into fashion.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm convinced trench coats didn't even exist before that.
No, they did, but they came back with dusters.
Dusters.
Yeah,
And Always
Dusters.
Sunny.
Always Sunny. Oh yeah, the duster came back with that one.
I applaud you for that one. That was a good one.
That's a good one. Scores.
Down the line, Mason.
You're it.
You got hit this time.
You're right. So originally I had this movie as a 7, and I remember liking this movie, but for all those same reasons I said before, kind of like the Bourne Identity, all these espionage type movies, it just depends on what you're more leaning towards. If you like this character more, I really, really liked Eggsy.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Eggsy. He wasn't in it enough, but maybe he was,
like that.
except he wasn't mature in all of it. I remember when I think of the Kingsman, especially the first one, I think of him in that suit. He wasn't in that suit except for the last 10 minutes, basically.
That's where it felt like all of his character growth spurred. Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a spike in that.
Yeah, I loved him in this movie, but I'm still leaning at a 7. I think that it's good. I do think that the second one maybe is better. I can't quite remember it, but anyways. I do like what this movie does as far as the action sequences. That girl with the blades.
Sophia Patella with the.
Was that who that was?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So what else is she in?
She's in the Mummy, the most recent one. Tom
Yeah,
Cruise.
she's
She's in
She's in something else,
what's
too.
the one with Charlize Theron as the action spy?
No, I don't know.
Oh gosh, they have.
It's not just Spy, is it?
No.
No?
There's a really hot sex scene in it apparently though. Girls love it.
Mason,
Well,
you go.
So I like that you had no background on her like villainous character. You know how like in Wolverine or X2 rather, like that girl that's basically made of adamantium or whatever.
Yeah. Lady Deathclaw.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Deathclaw.
yes.
They never call her that in the movie, but that's who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Mystique just has random mixed martial arts like training.
Who trained her? Right.
I love like characters like that have zero background, but they have a cool aesthetic and they have like a cool like equipment. Like I don't know. She's not a mutant, but anyways, I really liked a lot of the characters in this movie. I just wish that like some of them would have been like more in the picture at times, or like more mature, like our main character.
What about that pug, by the way? JB. I see where he has the gun on JB, and it just goes from him to the pug, just like
halfway smiling.
Right.
Yeah, the pug was great.
That pug's great.
But it was just a constant joke. Like there was a lot of just joke with this movie, and that was good. He knew he wasn't gonna shoot that dog. But anyways.
No.
But yeah, so 7 for me.
In typical fashion, if me and Mason sit in the same ballpark. I almost want to go a little higher. Yeah, I'm fine with giving this a 7.5.
Do it.
This is a 7.5. The aesthetic and everything lands really well. There's some stuff that it gets a little too corny for me, and sometimes the tone fluctuates a little out of line for me, but never enough to take me out of it entirely, or never enough to like ruin a whole scene. Just kind of like little tiny snippets. I'd be like, I'd cut that. I'd cut this right here. I'd cut this little part right here. Yeah, but overall, this movie is by and far much better good than bad. I think that the church scene is pretty exceptional. I think that's what sticks it on the 0.5 for me instead of just regular 7. The church scene. The action in general is pretty solid across the board. The bar scene is nothing to scoff at either, but I think the church scene just really puts it over.
Again, he repeats the exact same thing as Mentor did at the end.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, no offense, I don't know that the church scene is the best scene from this movie. I like the fact that it's your favorite of all time.
Yeah.
But I liked most of the action.
No, I liked it.
Yeah.
I think the church scene did it. I think objectively, the church scene did it better. Subjectively, my own personal taste, I kind of like the intimacy of the bar more. I think a little.
I can get that.
I like the one at the end where he has to use the knife blade that you never see.
Yeah.
Come out of his
he
foot.
does in the air like in slow-mo against that girl.
But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, underrated action and stuff like that, but everything lands well enough that nothing sits there and I would say puts it on the lower end of it, but it's not. It doesn't hit an 8 for me yet. It just doesn't hit that spectacular. I didn't love, like most things. Like, I didn't love it enough to sit there and say, oh, I gotta fight for this to be an 8.
Mm-hmm. We'll die on this hill.
Yeah.
I'll give it an 8.
There you go. You have
working
a
our
order.
That's the biggest surprise.
Yeah.
I was not expecting.
You never know with it.
high.
Like stuff for Raging Bull.
So
he just watched Raging Bull.
You fucking idiot.
It's got
Yeller
a fairly simple premise, but it's executed well. It's got great choreography and fight scenes. It's also got really good choice of music too throughout the whole thing. Like, I thought that was all really smartly done, and it wasn't like overbearing, I feel like, in the way a lot of times, like whenever a film will put in modern music, it's just like, oh, you just put that in there because you thought that would be cool and people would like your movie more because they like that song.
Gatsby.
Yeah, Gatsby's an example of that done very badly.
Oh no, I like that.
Oh, come here,
I Lana Del Rey in it.
Whereas this one, it's done tastefully, I would think. And yeah, like the whole thing, it's like nothing about it really surprises you, but it's smart and it's fun, and yeah, I don't know. There's nothing about this movie that I would have cut out. Like I guess you could argue for the parachute thing, but nothing really ever overstayed its welcome by too much.
Can I mention, Bryce, before you give your score, a scene that I actually
already said no.
Liked more?
Not
that it was an action scene.
The butt scene.
Yeah, that was it. No, at the very beginning, after he like causes trouble with like inside that bar or whatever, he like drives that car.
Oh.
And then like he disappears around the corner.
And
then he comes back in reverse with it right behind.
Yeah, the cop coming away.
I don't know why I thought that was probably one of the funniest parts of the movie.
That's funny.
This is my favorite, I would say, straight action movie. I mean, this is action with like a taste of spy, I guess, but at its heart,
I like my gay action a little better, honestly.
It's more of an action movie, I think, in my opinion. I think, in my opinion, 2 qualifiers. But I really, really like this movie. I really like how everything's shot. There's no like sweeping vista like Revenant kind of cinematography in it, but that's fine. It's more intimate and cool shots like that, especially the action.
Say esoteric.
I'll wait for them. You done? You good?
Are you?
Are
you?
That's so much your vocabulary.
Yeah.
But really enjoy this movie. I like showing it to anybody any chance I get. This has been on the wheel since last season. So I've been waiting for this movie to be picked for forever. When Devil All the Time gets picked, I will have a field day. Those two have been on there
probably gonna get
for forever.
Tomb Raider's been on there for a while.
Tomb Raider's been on there too.
Baby
I'm not saying nothing
Driver.
else has been on. I'm just saying like those have been on there for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's got my favorite action scene of all time in it. It's got good dialogue. It made me laugh multiple times. I'm going to go with solid 9.0 on it. I really, really like this movie, and I could watch it almost any time. So it's in the 9s for me, definitely not higher, but it's a solid 9.
What did critics and people think of this movie?
I just had that pulled up. I think it was like 70. Critics at 75 and audience at 84.
How dare the critics?
Yeah,
agree with
well,
me?
the critics like they're looking at this movie as kind of like a weird like thrown together,
Right.
too much of a mashup of genres. Like I get that
Because I can see critics being like, "Oh, this movie's trying to be snarky and campy." Like
Right.
I already got the joke.
There
I
is-
like Raging Bull.
There is a
Yeah.
line where it's just it's too fun, and critics are like, I don't know that.
Exactly.
Means, yeah. They start
Like,
to turn away.
I can't admit that I like.
I must hate movies.
They're making fun of cinema too much.
Yeah.
With this piece of cinema.
Exactly.
So stupid.
All right, Dylan, you gonna
hold,
spin
hold,
it?
hold my girl.
Then they go watch Raging Bull to get the taste.
Shut
out of
the
their
fuck.
mouth.
Ugh.
I got
That's
you.
right. You're not getting critic reviews on this podcast.
Okay, so that's gonna go.
Here goes the wheel spin.
That's a good spin.
A lot of pepper. A lot
Lot
of
of
pepper.
pepper. Be yellow. Be yellow. Oh.
American Psycho.
Okay.
It's actually my pick, which is a darn shame. I was so close.
Have you all seen
Damn.
that meme make a comeback of American Psycho where he's having sex with that woman and he's looking
Yeah.
away?
Yeah.
That has been everywhere.
I love
lately.
the Bale memes in this movie are fantastic. Can we watch the trailer on this?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Oh man, we need to watch it.
Do you know who directs this?
I've never seen.
No
this
idea.
Wow, have you not used this since we watched the Coda trailer?
Nope.
movie. Wow.
This man. Do you?
Wow, he's been too busy playing
He's-
Elden Ring.
He's
for
so far off the
20th
grid. He
time.
doesn't even use internet anymore.
Yeah.
Get out.
Well, this is not my computer that I
Hint
watched.
to be square. Yeah.
Is this it?
Wait, no.
No,
there's
no,
a trailer.
trailer. Do trailer.
That's a
Oh,
clip.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a really long time since I've seen this movie.
It's been a billion years. I'm effectively just gonna say I haven't watched it based on how little I remember it and how much
Do
I
you remember why
only
you
know
picked
the
it?
memes. That was part of it, and the other part was because I keep seeing the memes to it, and I kind of just want to watch the movie in context.
The Zellweger?
Yeah.
That's Reese
No, that's
Witherspoon.
Yeah, that's
Witherspoon.
Witherspoon.
That one little scene with the sunglasses reminds me of Vampire's Kiss.
Uh-huh.
That's not a good thing at all.
That's one of the scenes.
Yeah.
The meme.
Oh, this is.
That's a wonderful suit. Looks so soft. I don't think I can control myself.
Reminds me of Dennis.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say. You think this is the inspiration for Dennis Reynolds?
Yeah, he's talking like
Probably a
Batman
little
already.
Yeah.
On the verge of frenzy.
There's a lot of Batman in this Bale. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That whole scene is fantastic. I love that many critics.
There we go.
There was like a handful of critics that said Christian Bale is not a real actor. He's fucking garbage after watching this.
That's
He's supposed to act like that. Though.
I know.
That's the
Yeah, I know.
character.
that's the
Terrible,
thing. It's like
yeah,
I don't
that's
know how
terrible.
you walk away from this saying that he can't act.
Right. I think Christian Bale has since proven them wrong,
The
guys.
music on this trailer is everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much Dennis in this.
Yeah, there is.
Wow.
There's a lot of Dennis in there. Mary Harron.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna like this movie.
I think
honestly,
honestly,
you've
I
seen
think
it,
I'm
right?
What?
Never seen it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a lot of good like. I don't know.
Yeah. I can't imagine you not liking this.
Yeah.
It's not Hershey's chocolate.
Right, no,
We're
it's-
getting at.
Yeah.
It's authentic blood. They actually
They
murdered Jared
actually
Leto.
blood.
killed a bunch of people in
They
the
like-
film.
Killed plenty of people in this
I
movie.
like the passion.
Yeah, but the cinema liked it, so they didn't get rid of it. What are you gonna do? If they weren't gonna get a Weinstein, they weren't gonna get rid of this for killing people. Am I right?
Fair point.
Anyway, guys, make sure to tune in next week for American Psycho. If you liked our content, make sure to let us know below what you like. Let us know what you dislike. Do you dislike Price's Taste and Raging Bull? We do too. Make sure to give that movie a big old thumbs up, though, because we roast him good. Give this one a thumbs up if you like what we're doing over here as well. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell. Can you get up? You're too sensitive. God.
I mean,
Just
Weak.
choke me.
You can come with something.
No.
Hit bang.
Hit bang. Anyway, guys, make sure to tune in next week for American Psycho. We will see you then if we're not dead from tornado tonight. Bye.
Bye.